Okay, I'm going to predict an English, which is to open up with the c-pawn.
Okay, and I'll go e4, the king's pawn. We'll mix it up, and I've only played... Okay, yeah, I got lucky there, guys. I've only played Ivanchuk once over the board in 2009, and I remember preparing for him. I spent 4 hours trying to predict his opening, and he played something he's never played before.
Wow.
So, yeah, he plays every opening under the sun, and he knows them really well. He knows all the ideas.
Yeah, and look at those books behind him. I just love the way we're talking about the old books. Those books looks ancient.
Yeah.
They're like really old chess books just sitting behind him there.
53-year-old Vasyl Ivanchuk in his very first tournament in the Meltwater Champions Chess Tour against a player 36 years younger than him, Praggnanandhaa. Moves are coming out. What kind of an opening are we looking at?
Yeah, so it's the Spanish opening, and it's a branch of the Spanish opening we call the Archangel, and that means Black's kind of bringing out his bishop early. This is a very ambitious choice of square for Black's bishop, this last move. Black's bishop, of course, is on a great diagonal now, but it's likely to get hit, and once the white pawn starts stepping forward, first on the edge of the board and then maybe later in the centre, we'll see Ivanchuk decide how direct he wants to be. Black's rook now just getting out of the way. The A file is about to become open potentially, and this is all very standard stuff. I think this is a decent choice by Pragg, but Ivanchuk clearly has a lot of experience here. This opening has been around for many, many years. There's been a lot of recent developments, however, and Ivanchuk decides to put his knight on the edge of the board. The target is the b5 square, the b5 pawn. And, OK, Black castles. This does involve a temporary pawn sacrifice. There we go, White wins a pawn, but Black creates a pin, and I remember playing through these lines when I was young, when I was younger than Pragg even, and I was just so confused. It was very difficult to evaluate the positions because often Black stays a pawn down for a long time, but he does have very active pieces.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Decent opening choice?
I'm surprised by this opening choice. You know, it's a courageous one because, of course, you know, you are gambiting a pawn. It's the sharpest possible response to opening up with the king's pawn, and this is the reason why it's so sharp, because take a look at White's king. It's totally open, and Praggnanandhaa, he's not pulling any punches here, because look at, he's going straight for the king, and we are probably still in mainstream theory, because I'm just checking the database. Yep. Lots of games been played before.
Yeah, and just a few years ago, there were some opening books, some kind of opening works on this exact position, on this line, and as far as I remember, computers thought that this is just all a forced draw, but Black has to know his stuff. Black has to know a lot of tricks later, and we see the players both over 16 minutes. They've gained time from when they started the game. That's because they're so confident, and they've clearly studied this. Pragg was just looking off to the side there. He knows what to do. He brings his queen out, very near the white king. Looks a bit scary if you're new to this position. That white king is about to get attacked by the black queen and knight, but at the moment, no direct threats. I'm expecting White to just capture a pawn in the centre. At some point, White's king will try and find safety just in the corner. It will shuffle across one square to the light square, and everything to play for. Any
Definitely.
Predictions at this early stage?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty well known, the position. You can see the speed they're moving at as well. I mean, it's already moved, I can't see on my screen, but it's getting into the game 15. I mean, you have to be a bit careful, I think, with both sides, don't you, in this kind of structure, because White is a pawn up, so Black needs to prove the compensation, but White's king is very weak, and the queen and knight, which are just hovering around the white king, they work really well together, those two pieces. So you've got to be very careful. If a third black piece is opened up, I'd be very, very scared. Let's say the black bishop, if that can open up on the diagonal, or if a black rook, well, I love the swingers, don't I? I'm always going on about the swingers. If a rook can swing round, something like that, I'd be very scared. But saying all that, I'm assuming they both know what they're doing. Chucky now slowing down a little bit, so could he be out of theory now, possibly?
Possibly, because I'm just checking this database and there's only 6 games, but the position is so sharp that I find it difficult to believe that both players have not looked at this before. And I have to say, the stats are in White's favour. Sorry, not White's favour, Black's favour, as you can imagine, because White is playing with fire here.
Yeah, no matter what the computer says as well. I mean, the stakes are higher for White, as you mentioned there, Ivanka. If you make one bad move with White, you probably just get checkmated. If you make one bad move with Black, maybe you're just a pawn down and you'll live to fight another day. So we'll see what Pragg has up his sleeve now. He looks very energetic. This is the difference between the generations. The older generation, you see more stoic, Ivanchuk. OK, he's got certain mannerisms, but in general, he'd just be thinking, focusing. Pragg needs that adrenaline.
Yeah.
It's interesting, really fascinating position.
And David, you mentioned having something up your sleeve. Well, we have the coolest surprise for everyone, which we will reveal at the end of the show. But in order to reveal it, we do need your help. So we're asking you to send us your coolest pictures. And you can do that using the hashtag #ChessChamps, and we'll feature them on the show with a surprise, which I cannot wait to reveal it to you guys, because it is seriously amazing.
It is such a cool surprise. So we need you guys to share your best chess pictures. It can be a selfie you take today watching the show, or maybe playing some chess. It can be something you have in your archive, playing maybe your favorite tournament, playing the first game ever, someone else playing chess. I don't know, but share your pictures on Twitter. Oh, I'm looking forward to that surprise.
Yeah.
I think we're going to have many surprises this tournament, both on and off the board.
Yeah.
But, meanwhile, Pragg now thinking, and maybe we can dive a bit deeper, see what is going through the young prodigy's mind.
Because there's definitely a lot of pieces so left the board already.
Yeah, a lot of pieces have left the board, but if we kind of focus on what's left on the board, I mean, this queen, this knight, very near this white king, and the white king doesn't have any defenders, as Simon mentioned. So Pragg, he wants to bring a third piece into the attack. That's something I learned from Ivanka. 3 is the magic number when it comes to attacking pieces. So you need to get this piece in somehow, or this piece, but they're both blocked by white's pawn center. Maybe he's also thinking at some point of trying to get this rook in the game. You can do that, as Simon mentioned, by kind of lifting it and swinging it across, but it takes a few moves, a bit slow there. Maybe you could kind of push a pawn forward at some point to open up a line for this rook. There's so much to calculate. You could also decide when to flick in a capture of pawns in the center. I'm not sure who this favors, this kind of trade of pawns. These guys look very strong, but they are potential targets for the black pieces. What else could black be thinking about here? Maybe just moving his rook across, putting some pressure on the center.
Is there any chance that black could try to do something with that loose knight sitting there on b5?
Yeah, definitely a possibility. There are some other branches of this opening where you can get away with certain tricks against this piece at some point, but I don't really see how at the moment. I guess you could take this pawn with a bishop, for example, opening up an attack against the white knight. But if the white knight just retreats and captures, then we see just a trade. And again, it's not clear. The knight and bishop have disappeared from these two squares, but who does that favor? Long term, the white bishops are very good here, but short term, still a bit loose for white. Simon, I think you'd take the black pieces, wouldn't you, in this position? Attacking chances.
Yeah, I mean, I guess nowadays positions like this are very, very well analysed in general. I know they both are slowing down. They might be out of theory, but you've got to play into positions which you enjoy playing. This is like a key thing that I think a lot of people forget. So do you like holding on to the extra pawn, defending a bit, trying to soak up the pressure? If so, you take white. Or do you like risking playing sacrificial, getting the initiative and trying to keep that initiative going? I mean, both styles have big dangers, but personally, I love attacking, so the white king is weaker, black's pieces slightly more scarier, so I take black here. I think it's actually a very clever opening choice from Pragg, because if you think about opening knowledge, how we learn nowadays, computers is how you learn, like really, you know, and Pragg, I imagine his capacity of quickly absorbing opening information is much higher than Chucky's. You know, Chucky might still be relying on books or old analysis, so why not take him into something very, very sharp where your opening knowledge can shine a little bit more. But saying that, I don't know what move to play. I mean, I guess if I was black, I'd think about taking the pawn in the middle, moving a rook over. I think it's really key to keep the pressure on and try to get another piece in. But you know, white centre looks extremely powerful here as well. And I want to try to get the other knight in the game with this idea. Try to swing the knight all the way to the king's side as David's showing here, is the kind of thing I'd be. I need to get that third piece in to improve the position. So all these ideas I'd be going for. Checkmate ends the game. Yeah. Go for the king. Checkmate. That's all you need. Easy. Yeah. Easy, Pragg. Just do it. Simples. Take him down.
So we've kind of shown a plan for black. I mean, but surely white is also going to play as well.
Nah, he'll just fall into checkmate. Nah, he won't do anything. He'd just let Chucky checkmate, won't he? No.
Chucky checkmate.
Oh, no, Pragg checkmate.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the video we saw Planet Chucky. He did actually checkmate Magnus Carlsen, Ivanchuk, in, was it a Blitz, World Blitz game, I think?
Yeah.
Well, he's beaten Magnus several times, actually, in all forms of chess, classical, rapid and Blitz. Yeah, I mean, we saw actually him receiving the gold medal, I think, in the World Rapid Championship. Former world champion there, Ivanchuk.
So this format, rapid chess, is it the perfect format for Ivanchuk?
I'm not sure because, you know, Ivanchuk also has a tendency to lose on time. And we've seen this happen several times. You know, he gets so absorbed into the position and kind of just analysing out all those intricacies that he just forgets the clock. And we did see situations in the past where he just let the clock run out. And we were all saying, I remember Simon and me at one point were just going, move. And he didn't move. And we were like, no way. But that was life. And, well, Praggnanandhaa has actually played a move that was on my radar as well. Bishop takes pawn. I kind of like what you guys were suggesting, you know, which was a bit more harmonious. Here, Praggnanandhaa means business. You know, he's going directly for the kill.
Yeah, started some tactics. As we mentioned, if this bishop is captured by the white pawn, then white's knight will drop off to the black rook. So white also has the option of taking this bishop with his own knight.
He missed that checkmate idea there, didn't he? It's been a mistake. Could have finished the game off there with that knight coming over.
Less sharp than you today, Simon. Less aggressive.
I'm not sure about that. So.
Too much respect for the great Ivanchuk, I guess.
Perhaps. I think he still has some tricks up his sleeve. Yeah,
definitely
some sly plans. And OK, meanwhile, the white knight does step back, indeed, and capture. We'll see this white knight captured as well by the black pawn. What else could you be thinking about? Maybe he's thinking of moving the black rook across, but no, why not take that piece while it was sitting there, ready to be captured? Yeah, you're right, Ivanka. In 2013, the London, the candidates tournament, Ivanchuk, he lost on time, what was it, 3 or 4 times?
Whoa.
3 or 4 games. And that was, of course, the famous event where Magnus qualified on tiebreak with Kramnik. Magnus actually, he owes a lot to Ivanchuk because in the final round, Ivanchuk beat Kramnik. If Kramnik had just scored a draw, Kramnik would have qualified for the World Championship and history would have been very different. So
Ivanchuk has made history what it is today.
Yeah,
exactly.
Wow. He has. And incidentally, in that tournament, the round before, Ivanchuk actually beat Magnus.
Wow.
And, you know, Magnus is like, oh, my goodness me, how could he do this? And then, of course, in the final game...
He saved him.
He saved him. Angel and demon all at once.
But he's never been world champion himself, Ivanchuk. But I heard you guys even said it, maybe the best player to never become world champion.
He was world #2 many times. And, you know, he's incredibly strong. And just look at the focus that he's displaying.
Yeah, I mean, he's world #2 behind Kasparov, and this is when Kasparov was just crushing absolutely everyone. If Kasparov wasn't around, he would have been world champion. Yeah. But there was a famous case, and one of my favourite games, where Ivanchuk, I think, got through to the semi-final or very up there, the World Championship qualifier, and he's playing Yusupov, famous now trainer, and they got down to a tie-break game, and Ivanchuk lost this tie-break game, and had he won that, you know, history may have well been different because this was in the 90s when he was really strong. But there's a famous story. He was played in quite a busy city, and as soon as he lost, he went out into the busy street and he just started screaming. And he just, because you know, this is his chance, and you know, just in this street, he was just letting out all this emotion into the street after the game. So that's how the story goes, I think. You know, but it was a brilliant game for anyone, you know, that Yusupov played to win that match.
Heartbreak for Ivanchuk. Yeah. Well, he's playing fast in this game.
He is playing fast. I was just looking at his camera. I mean, he's also muttering something. Any one of us good lip readers? Anyone hazard a guess?
Not in Ukrainian.
No,
I'm afraid.
exactly.
Yeah, but we could have fun here.
Who knows what language it is? Maybe there's a different language on Planet Chucky.
Ah.
But yeah, a few moments ago, while you were telling that story, Simon, he closed his eyes as if he was reliving that moment, and just kind of closing his eyes, talking to himself. It's very much. It's kind of reminiscent of the Queen's Gambit when Beth is staring at the ceiling. There's something going on in his head that we wish we could see.
Yeah.
But
do you know who he reminds me of? I mean, like, OK, who does Chucky remind you of? And this is a good question for the audience as well. If you could think of one person in the whole world, I mean, for me, it's Spock out of Star Wars. It kind of reminds me of the genius, Star Trek even, sorry.
Yeah.
You know, the genius guy who's, you know, that calculator who could, you know, really work magic there, because he's got that same, you know, again, like you say, he looks at the ceiling, he sort of sees these amazing ideas which no one else does, and yeah, there's something very special about that. So
Yeah, he also maybe looks like him as well.
exactly, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, he's like little bit of a
I can see
resemblance with Spock. So yeah,
Ivanchuk.
the Vulcan race.
that's it.
Yeah,
Doesn't Spock play chess as well?
Some 3D
game,
chess.
right?
Yeah, the
I think
3D chess, yeah.
Which just looks really weird.
Yeah.
So chess is hard enough.
and look at Ivanchuk now. He's going through so many emotions. He's also wearing is that a Real Madrid top?
Oh, yeah.
Big sports fan. Ivanchuk. I should mention the two most experienced players in this tournament. They've both got these kind of mannerisms as well. Ivanchuk likes to twirl his eyebrows.
Yeah,
And
I've seen
Gelfand
that.
likes to twirl chess pieces. They're both famous for.
What do you think he twirls online? Because
Yeah.
when he's playing over the board, Gelfand does twist the piece like this. But when he's playing online, what does he twirl?
I hope
Maybe
we
he
find
brings
out.
yeah.
We're going to need to have a look. So
Yeah.
Playing with his mouse, just kind of. Can't do it. He can. But, yeah, meanwhile, there's one new move on the board. So after a couple of exchanges, Black's rook has jumped into the white camp, into the white half, attacking White's pawn centre. That's why White's bishop has developed, this dark square bishop protecting the pawns in the centre. But now, if Praggnanandhaa wants to restore the material balance, he can use his rook and grab that white pawn on b2. It's undefended now. I'm not sure you really want to move your rook again. If White gets time to kind of bring pieces towards the protection of his king, if the White queen can develop, if White's central pawns can push forward, Ivanchuk just has a beautiful position. So, Pragg, will he just kind of go for that materialistic approach, just grab a pawn, it's equal pawns, the game goes on, or does he try to look for something a bit more aggressive?
I suspect he might be doing a hit and run with the knight. He's actually going to capture the pawn. I haven't worked out the tactics here. But I reckon he might just go for it and initiate that fire on the board, because, like you say, you know, he just can't be messing around with the rook. Make use of those lines, I say.
Wow, yeah, and this pin now means that White's bishop is likely to fall in the centre of the board, so you've given up a knight, but this piece is now attacked by both of the black rooks, and it's not clear how you save it. It feels a bit shaky because Black's back rank is weak. Black's king, if it's given a check on the back rank, it will be trapped. There's no escape squares, but it's hard to get at it at the moment.
is there a Planet Chucky move there? This is where this is the thing.
We need that moment of genius, that inspiration that Chucky always seems to have.
I'm not sure if we can trust the evaluation bar, by the way, at the moment as well. I'm not sure if that's moved. So I think it seems like it's been on 0.4 for a while. So I don't know. Maybe.
Where would you place it?
I'm not sure. I mean, it's a very tactical position. White's got all the sort of positional pluses at the moment: 2 bishops, pawn centre, extra pawn. But Black's got all the tactical chances. So I think in 4 or 5 moves, we will know a much more valid assessment of what's happening here. But this knight takes d4 is certainly a key move, isn't it? I mean, if this works, then Black could be doing very well.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel there might be something there. I don't know what, but
I'm thinking maybe you can go a bit weird and move the rook up onto... OK, we've actually seen a different move.
Yeah, so Ivanchuk, you're thinking maybe something like this. Yeah, this would be very, very complicated. Pragg decides to go the kind of simple approach, materialistic, I called it earlier, but it makes sense. You put your rook on a very nice active square, you take a pawn back, and yeah, it does look beautiful, as you guys mentioned, these 2 bishops. They do look quite well placed, the pawn centre, but what next for White? I just want to kind of overprotect the White king at some point. The queen is tied down. I would love to eventually bring her to this square, not right now. Maybe the rook can just slide across one square. Just kind of, I don't think you can ever trap the black queen, but you can hint, for example, that you'll attack her with the bishop or with the rook. At least now with the white rook on this square, I feel a bit safer. OK, Chucky does go for that. Very sensible. And again, the question for Pragg is what next? How does he justify the kind of temporary activity of his pieces before white gets organised? Not so easy anymore.
No, not easy at all. And I was just going to highlight one thing that is on the board that Magnus really loves. He loves those adjacent pair of bishops. Just look at them on those diagonals next to each other. Beautiful.
Yeah. If they ever open up, they can start to attack the black king. So, yeah, the bishops have all the potential. It's all about what black can do in the short term.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it seems to be a slow start to the Julius Baer Generation Cup. Look at the bars at the bottom of the screen. Most of them roughly to the middle, except for in the first game for Magnus Carlsen. He is playing that Indian super talent, Arjun Erigaisi, and the bars all the way over to Magnus's side with the black pieces after only 20 minutes in that game. So is it going to be an explosive start to the tournament for Magnus, who often has a slow start to the tournaments? But maybe starting off with a win here today.
I was a bit worried, though, because I just had a look, and Magnus is playing the same opening that he played against me on Friday night. So, not a good sign.
Did you play against Magnus on Friday?
Twice, yeah.
Really?
I did, yeah.
How did it go?
Oh, well, let's just say I was clearly winning both games.
Of course.
I will stop there. Just leave it quickly. Move on.
You're a fast starter, Simon.
Just a slow finisher. No, he crushed me both so, at the end. Yeah,
I wouldn't say crushed. I was lucky enough to be watching, kibitzing that game, and Simon was on the brink of winning both of them. But
well, I was, yeah.
Unfortunately, Carlsen's a bit of a tricky customer, isn't he? He's very good at swindling his way out of trouble.
Was this bullet chess or blitz?
It was blitz, 3 minutes. Okay. So so we had time to drink hot beer as well.
What a way to warm up to commentating on the tournament, Simon.
Yeah, I mean,
it's beating the world champion.
Yeah, well, it would have been great, and obviously you've got this great chess pub in Norway called the Good Night, which is one of the only ones in the world, which is a fantastic venue as well. So.
And speaking of the Good Night, next Saturday, on the first day of the final in this tournament, Simon will be at the Good Night. There's going to be a meetup, watch party chess event at the Good Night. So if you are in Oslo, keep your eyes up for that event. We'll talk some more about it. We do have a move. The queen is moving.
Yeah, the queen is moving, and she's slightly closer to the white king. There's potential now that as soon as the white queen is distracted, the black queen's going to jump in with some checks on the diagonal. That's the only way the white king is vulnerable right now, on the light square diagonal. Also, it's not possible to attack the black queen anymore. I mentioned a couple of ways white was trying to do that, maybe with a rook or bishop. Now the black queen is relatively safe. You can't attack her because the black knight covers some key squares. So this is the type of move that I love in blitz chess. It's not clear what it actually does, but it's annoying for the opponent. It's kind of you stick something just in their face. The queen now is just sitting right there next to your king, and you try and scare your opponent and bluff some tricks. But look at Ivanchuk. What's going through that mind?
He doesn't want to look at the queen.
I mean, the first thing that jumps to my mind is to line a rook up against that queen, which is quite a subtle little move. I'm trying to think what Ivanchuk would think like. Then I'm thinking, no, hang a minute. I can't get into Chucky's mind here.
Maybe we can keep an eye on Chucky. I want to keep an eye on those facial expressions. Definitely. Your idea, Simon, bringing the rook up 2 squares, hinting at a discovered attack against this queen.
I'm hinting at some long bishop move with like you said, discovered attack there. Something like that could be logical, but I'm kind of also that last move from Pragg, maybe a good move, but I'm thinking if you have to play a move like this which doesn't create any threats, it doesn't, it just sort of is a lurker, I'd say. I'm starting to really like White's position. I mean, OK, White has given his pawn advantage away, but he's got the centre, he's got the 2 bishops, he's got an open line. I think it could be White who ends up attacking the black king. So that'd be my gut reaction here, that White should be comfortable here. Maybe you can even bring the light square bishop around to defend. There's many sort of ideas that you can go for here, really, I guess. I mean, I don't know, Ivanka, I mean, would you take White or black here?
White every time. I mean, I just rethink that White's position is pretty safe. I mean, you need to keep an eye on the king, but that's about it. And I was thinking of moving the bishop, maybe even attacking the knight, and then trying to be cynical about things and moving the rook to an open line and trading off queens. I'm gonna kill your fun.
Queen trader. Probably a very good idea, because you've got all the positional advantages. Why not simplify the game? And I mean, opposite approach to me, but a good approach. So, yeah, definitely.
I guess once the queens are off, it's an endgame, and white's king is never in danger. Makes sense.
Probably a very, very good plan. Yeah.
So, what is Chucky going to do? Is he going to play one of these moves we're expecting?
Oh, and look, the bar, suddenly.
Oh, OK, it's gone up in white's favour.
I think it's been stuck, and they've just fixed it. That's all I think it's happened.
Yeah, so, and we see the analysis board here where I'm drawing some arrows, but actually, I was going to say on the game board, suddenly pieces just changed. We suddenly saw knights, we suddenly saw a bunch of other pieces. But, OK, white's bishop does indeed come.
Yeah.
This is one of your ideas, Simon, just to nudge this queen away. The queen is actually stuck defending her knight, so you have to be a bit careful.
Would you say Ivanchuk is winning this game?
Yeah.
It's possible.
Well, I mean, now we can see the bar. Yeah, definitely. I wasn't sure before, but yeah, I reckon.
I wouldn't say it's like clearly winning. I mean, I think there's still a lot of scope to go wrong. And of course, it's just two humans playing. But yeah, it's looking really good. You know, he's got everything he wants. He's got the centre, he's got the bishop pair, he's got those open lines for the rooks. It's just a dream. I just can't stop admiring his position.
We talk about controlling the centre in chess. Look at what white has done with his formation there. It's just kind of everything protected, everything controlled. It's perfect and a big threat. So again, if black does nothing, if black just moves the king to the side, then this bishop move is really stretching black's defences. The queen is attacked. Remember, the queen has to stay defending her knight on the edge of the board, so she has to step back one square. White's rook will now probably step up. There are also ideas of sliding the queen across later on, kind of with a double attack. Maybe this was a threat in the position as well. But yeah, once the queen is kicked out of the white half of the board, it's all about white. And Ivanchuk looks very happy with himself right now.
Yeah.
After this bishop move, yeah, I love this threat. And actually this secondary threat that might appear on the board. Maybe over the next few moves, double attack here and hitting the knight.
Yeah.
It's looking good for Ivanchuk. And we do have the first result in the tournament. Hans Niemann winning his first game here. And it is against the oldest player in the tournament, Boris Gelfand. So Hans Niemann takes the lead in the tournament. He could be joined by Ivanchuk, by Magnus Carlsen. Looking good for him as well. And Ivanchuk here fighting for the win. I don't think Pragg looks too worried, though. Yeah. There are still fighting chances.
This is Pragg's temperament. You know, when he's winning, he doesn't look like he's winning. When he's losing, look at him. No emotion whatsoever. I mean, hang on, I say that, and he's kind of given the game away a little bit. That he's not entirely happy with his position because he breathed a big sigh. But, you know, it's just a mark of a great chess player. You know, he's able to keep calm in those situations of stress. And this is a very stressful situation, I have to say, for Praggnanandhaa, because he is fighting for his life here, in terms of chess, that is.
Yeah. And it's just all a bit loose suddenly. Like, black's pieces, they look very active, the queen, the rook, the two knights, but they're not really defended. And if something goes wrong, if the coordination between those pieces is broken, you might just lose one of those knights.
I could just look at Chucky, just put the video up at full screen, bit of, classical music in the back. No. I mean, look at it. He's such a interesting character to look at, isn't he? I mean, like, as you said, David, maybe he was saying something and then he's clinching his eyes. I mean, he goes through all the emotions here. But you're right, David. Just black's position is very stretched here, and there's the rook move coming up. Maybe there's lots of tempting moves here, isn't there?
Yeah.
Ivanchuk is well in control.
Yeah.
We do have to mention that Pragg does have a threat with this queen retreat. He is threatening to capture the pawn in the middle of the board with a check, and Ivanchuk has to take measures against that. Unfortunately. Well, fortunately for him, I should say, it's very simple. You know, just move the rook up, attack the queen, kick her away.
Yeah, you could even move the queen in, couldn't you, as well? Get another piece near the black king. And it certainly seems to me that the black king could be under a lot of pressure very shortly.
Yeah, and this is interesting, just this battle of generations, because Pragg has grown up kind of facing the generation just above him, the Magnuses. I mean, in this tournament, we see a bunch of players, the Dudas, the Giris, that kind of generation just above Pragg. But the older generation, they have a different style, right? And they're very principled. Ivanchuk, we would think he'd be rusty. He's barely played over the board lately, but he's very principled. He'll still play what he thinks are the correct openings. He'll still have no fear. He's happy to weaken his king as long as he gets those long-term advantages. It's a very different type of chess. and it's interesting to see how Pragg does against that.
Yeah. Old versus new.
Yeah.
I mean, this is why it's such an exciting tournament. This generation gap that we have here. It's going to be fascinating to see how. I think we're all kind of rooting for the older players, aren't we? I'm going to say I am. I want to see the old guys do well because I'm now be one of the old guys.
They'll have their moment again.
Yeah, they've got loads of tournaments to come, and the old players, we grew up on their games, as David said earlier. We grew up on their brilliancies. Ivanchuk's had some great games beating Kasparov, Gelfand, positional mastermind. They are legends of the game.
And it's huge inspiration, right? If these players, 53 and 54 years old, can really make a mark in this tournament.
Yeah, it just shows exactly like you say, that absolutely anyone can do this, that anyone can compete at the top. I am slightly concerned, having said all that, about Vasyl's clock time, because now for the first time he's gone under the clock, and I'm just reading it. I mean, what can I say from his expressions? It looks like he's in pain.
Anyone else would be in pain with that face, but no, I think he's just calculating.
Okay.
And
the genius, isn't it? Of that genius is very. They say a lot of pain geniuses, and he is kind of the pain genius. But okay, the evaluation bar's gone down a lot. I mean, there was some other very tempting moves, like I also noticed he could have moved the other rook up, but which should have been, again, trying to get into his mind a little bit. Still looks very good for White. So do we know why the evaluation bar has dropped it? It's hard to say, right?
It's hard to say. It looks like a very natural move. White's queen coming towards kind of where the action is happening right now. We do see Stockfish giving its move suggestions just below the players' cameras right now, and it thinks that black should retreat a knight. So that is the knight on the edge of the board. We hate having knights on the edge of the board. Step it back towards the black king. Just keep it nice and safe. And that minimizes the damage. But there are other tempting moves. I would be inclined to think that it's more Pragg style to be kind of... he's a counter-attacking player. We've seen that throughout the tour. His style to kind of create threats, be a bit more direct. So the second best move, according to the computer, is for the other black knight to jump into the white position, to the c2 square, hitting the white rook in the corner, hitting white's dark squared bishop. That looks very natural to me as well. So I do think we'll see one of the top two computer moves for Pragg, because they're both very natural right now. Yeah, it's a very tense position. Now Pragg is the one burning time on the clock. We could see a time scramble. I think that will favour the younger player here, but Ivanchuk is calculating ahead, so he's definitely got a plan for the next few moves with this queen jump.
Yeah.
Still everything to play for.
Definitely everything to play for, and the position is heating up. And you have to say, we aren't the only ones cheering for the older generation.
Oh.
Adam Genesis Doctor says, "Go Ivanchuk, art for you." So he even has his fans creating art. And well, the move that you suggested is on the board, the knight retreating.
Yeah, so Stockfish's top choice, but then again, the evaluation bar shot back up. So, I mean, it's that type of position. It's just so hard to calculate. Even the computer needs some time to adjust, maybe. There is a threat re-established on white's central pawn, the one that did just move. Black's knight was eyeing up that pawn. The black queen was eyeing up that pawn as well. So now this black knight is kicked away from its perch. And where is it going to run to? It could just hide out in the centre of the board. I'm starting to worry for the black queen, though. She's running out of squares. And like Simon said just 5-6 moves ago, the black king maybe is the one actually in bigger danger. As soon as this knight is kicked away, the black king doesn't have many protectors left. It's just the pawns in front of it. And white's pieces are gravitating towards that black king.
Can anything happen in this game? Can anyone win it?
Anyone can definitely win this one. But at the moment, it looks like white is the one with all the momentum.
But as the time gets lower, you mentioned this, that it's going to be Chucky we fear for, because Pragg's got so much experience now. It's funny to say that the youngsters... Can I just say that? I mean, who's got more experience? Pragg's got more experience than the old Chucky who's been around before Pragg was born. But let me just say, Pragg has more experience in this kind of format, in this time limit. And that is it is just true. So if they get short time, will Ivanchuk be able to adapt? OK, well, he's gone straight in. I was wondering what would happen if the rook now came up to fork the queen and the knight, but I guess there's some
He's setting
response.
Traps, right?
Yeah, what am I missing? Rook takes pawn or something ridiculous?
Knight takes pawn,
Yeah,
or rook
maybe
takes
just
pawn.
knight takes pawn. So
okay,
this,
sure.
as Simon mentions, this does look like a killer, a double attack, hitting the black queen, also hitting the black knight in the centre, but luckily for Pragg, there is a check. The knight takes pawn check, hitting the king, also hitting the rook, and when you capture, black's queen can escape. And I mean, it's still not that bad for white, but you have lost a pawn in the process. So it's close. It's hanging by a thread for black. If we go back to the current position, if moving the rook up doesn't work, maybe you just have to take your time out to defend this pawn.
That kind of feels like you're doing not the right things.
Yeah, just defending this pawn, it's not bad, but yeah, as Ivanchuk says and kind of hints at there, maybe it's not great either. What other moves could you look for?
Could you move the light square bishop to, block the rook?
Yeah.
Because then you're opening up the rooks to, the rook in the corner would love to join in the battle. And I always say, when you're in the middle game, this is a good tip for everyone at home. You want to get all your pieces in the party. Like get all the guys in the party. You don't want someone on their own at home. They're going to be feeling sad, aren't they? Get them all in. So
and apply that in life as well.
Exactly.
Anyone alone.
Get them all in the party.
Yeah.
That's it. And
everyone.
Yeah, and you might be able to double up the rooks here, and that little rook could be the killer. Yeah. That lonely rook could be the killer piece.
This re-establishes your idea, Simon, as a threat. This is now a killer idea. This double attack, bringing the rook to g4. If black does nothing, then yeah, one of the black pieces will fall off, the queen or the knight in the centre. I don't even see how black defends against this, to be honest.
Can I show a cool line?
Go for it, Ivanchuk.
Yeah, it's just, I can't resist. It's a checkmating Chucky. So if the knight moves, because after all, the knight is potentially under attack, the bishop can actually move 2 squares forward. And then if you're like, no,
okay.
the light square bishop that's under attack moves to, And if the knight just moves back, because after all, black is saying this, repeat the position, I'm attacking the pawn again. White will simply go, no, absolutely not, and capture the pawn with the queen.
Boom.
Yeah, and after rook takes, we've got an old back ranker checkmate.
Oh, I wasn't even looking at that side of the board. That's like, I was only looking at the king on the other file. You totally switched my eyes over there. I need to look at the ceiling more like that. I need to stop getting obsessed with one area.
Well,
you said it, Simon, this rook, this lonely rook that was kind of waiting outside the party, it was still queuing up. But it's going to get into the party and going to join the attack.
Yeah, it's going to be the start of the party.
Very nice line.
Might well be. And he's played what we think is the best move. Chucky just bringing his bishop to this square, blocking the black rook's attack on this pawn. And suddenly, Pragg, only with 1 minute now, how does he deal against this monster threat and those checkmating ideas that Ivanchuk showed? Oof. I mean, I think he's a big favourite now, Ivanchuk.
Yeah, black's pieces are just like, especially the knight and queen, which we said was strong. Yeah. They're kind of they're just like really unsure of themselves, hanging around there. And that rook move, I don't know how you can stop it. I mean, if you have to play a move like h5, then you're just really like, you know what you might as well do? You might as well resign.
So, we won't see that.
Simon, you can't do that. Never quit.
No, never quit. I mean, he's under a minute though.
Yeah.
Oh, Chucky's only got 1 minute 30. That's my main concern for Chucky. If he forgets about his clock, which, as you said, Ivanchuk has done before. He's got a history of looking at the ceiling too much and forgetting about the clock. And he has played h5, and yeah, OK, he hasn't resigned quite yet. Then. So
it does look very bad. You've just weakened your own king, essentially.
Yeah, the king looks so weak now, and you could double up the rooks. Very simple way to play now. The white rook comes forwards 1 square, getting ready for the loner to come in, swing over. Maybe there's some other great ideas here as well.
Yeah, it's just that clock. It is kind of the joker in the pack right now. It could just completely randomise the position if Ivanchuk panics and just has to make 1 or 2 quick moves. This is his first time on the tour, so still adapting to that kind of online format, the time control. Gaining 10 seconds sounds like a lot, but yeah, especially if you're getting used to the especially in round 1, it can be tricky. Your move, Simon, just that rook in the corner now, raring to go, ready to join the action.
I do like J-Deep's tweet where he says they always root for Praggnanandhaa, except when playing Ivanchuk. It's a 90s thing. I like that one. Yeah. Keep them coming with the hashtag chess champs.
Yeah.
He must have been world number 2 when, like 15 years before Pragg was born.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Yeah. Thinking about that. Yeah.
2 games have finished with the winners already in this first round, you guys. It's Hans Niemann and Magnus Carlsen currently. Those 2 are on top of the table in the Julius Baer Generation Cup. That is kind of strange, taking into account the recent chess drama. But let's see if Ivanchuk joins them on top with 3 points if he wins this game. The bar now saying 4.0 pawn advantage.
Yeah, it's looking good for white. I think the most obvious move is probably the best one here. It's your move, Simon. Just swing that rook across.
The time. He's got to be careful. I can just see him forgetting about the clock.
20 seconds.
Oh,
He's
come
calculating
on.
too much. Here you just play by instinct.
Oh,
right?
you got to look at the clock, Chucky.
It's so different when you're playing
no, 10
online
seconds.
versus playing
What's he
over the
doing?
board.
Got to move 10
Has he
seconds.
Can't make a move.
I think he's forgotten about the clock.
It's got 7 seconds.
7.
What's he doing?
He's
Come
so
on, move
calm.
it. Oh, okay.
He makes a move. So relaxed.
Do you reckon he's seen the clock? I'm a bit worried. I'm still worried he hasn't seen the clock.
I'm just a bit worried.
Sorry, carry on, Ivanchuk.
Yeah, I was just a bit worried that he's like leaning back. I mean, this is different kind of behaviour. Normally we see everyone kind of like primed. They're leaning forward, they're eager to strike, and he's kind of very detached, and that's too chill when you have 17 seconds.
Yeah, now Pragg is the one low on the clock. On 3 seconds, 2 seconds. He has to move. Has Pragg
What's
moved?
happened? Has he moved?
Maybe a short delay here.
Yeah.
He must have moved.
Okay, yeah.
3 seconds left. You made a move.
He had to make this move. The two white rooks were stacking up, attacking that pawn.
Here we go again.
8, 7, 6. I think he might lose on time.
Okay.
Oh.
With 1 second left, you made that move.
Just 1 second. Oh.
We've seen all sorts on the tour happen, but we don't know what to expect now.
Play it, Chucky.
Yeah, this bishop move looks like a good one, bringing another piece towards the black king.
Can he go rook takes pawn? This is the key
No.
thing. Oh, he's got another one.
That's a bulldozer move. Look at that
Killer.
pawn just opening up the position.
But Pragg is so calm. Pragg is a great defender. Not only is he a good counter-attacker, but he knows how to kind of just stay alive in games. And, OK, we saw an exchange of pawns. Now White's bishop dropping back. That's not a good sign. He just brought his bishop forward. Now he's lost a bit of time, but still the black king out in the open now, super weak. Yeah, if Chucky had 5 minutes here, it's a guaranteed white win, but it's seconds left on the clock for both parties.
I think he has realised about his clock, though, because he has speed up. I was just worried that he didn't know that his time was getting short. And, OK, another move from Pragg, the pawn coming forwards. The bishops must start jumping into play soon, surely. But it's such a complicated position. You can blunder even when you've got a winning position. So you just got to calculate very well here. And, OK, is he going to get to 1 second again? No.
No, he was tempted to sacrifice material. I was wondering whether the hand would irresistibly play this move. I don't know.
Oh, gives a check. That's unexpected. I thought he was going to recapture his knight, so temporarily White is actually a whole rook down. But the attack, now Pragg, he can block this check. This is why I was surprised. I think Chucky as well was surprised by that move. He leant back, and not for a good reason this time. Oh, I think the tilt has started now. The black queen can just go and take the white light squared bishop.
Oh, no, look at his face.
Fallen apart.
Oh, no.
He's just a rook down now. No compensation.
Wow. Oh, no.
Heartbreak.
That's so sad.
He was playing the perfect attack. He just, I think he mixed up his move order. He found a great idea, just got it, just didn't execute it in the right way.
Oh.
And now it's just over. Now the white king is the one coming under fire.
Yeah.
And black has defended everything, extra rook.
You can resign. Yeah, I mean, just... That's sad. That's sad, you know, because...
Look at that.
Dear.
No, and he resigns. Ivanchuk, he was about to win this game against Pragg, but a blunder and huge